Africans. Freedom for Africa. Freedom for Africa. Freedom for Africa. We are not for sale.
It's Sunday the 26th of November and Africa Probe is at a peaceful protest outside the Libyan Embassy in Knightsbridge. As some of you may know, a major media outlet last week, after a year of going undercover, has released footage of Africans being auctioned for as little as $400. The footage has sparked international outrage and seen thousands on the streets of Paris last Saturday, seen protests in Sweden and in Berlin. The inhumane and horrific stories that are coming out of Libya, that have been coming out of Libya, pre this CNN report, sadly bear the hallmarks of 15th to 19th century Atlantic slave trade. The acts are cruel and vile, and they're being committed against Africans.
These so-called rebels, the first act of their so-called revolution, these are the scumbags that represent them now. This flag is the flag of the Italian colonialist and the British colonialist of King Idris, who is an absolute scumbag. Right, so this is the state of the lynchers of NATO.
Just tell me a little bit about what's going on here today.
This is a demonstration organized by various activists to show our anger and frustration with the Libyan authorities. It's unbelievable, in the 21st century they are selling human beings.
So I'm telling you, this has been a long, hard struggle to try and engage people, and this is why it's so beautiful and important that our comrades have initiated this very important protest, that we've taken inspiration from our African brothers and colleagues in Paris and other parts of Europe. It's high time. It's the 7th year that we've been trying to engage people directly with the black liberation resistance, with the Libyan resistance. We say rightly, free our brothers.
We're protesting about the black Africans who are being auctioned off into slavery in Libya, who are also being tortured and ransomed for money, and who are also being harvested for their organs.
There is a sex abuse, there is a gang abuse, there is a knife abuse. They kill people where they want, like they are God. This is no good.
Our people are dying on the people smuggling route in the desert. Our people being manipulated, our sisters are being manipulated across Africa and even into Near East Asia.
We need justice for Africans.
Absolutely. But you know how we have to take on our African leaders who are failing us, who are selling out our people, selling out our birthrights, selling out our resources. We have to say enough is enough.
But the only force that can free our brothers is not the colonialists, it's not the French state, it's not the British state. They are the arsonists. They are the neo-colonialists who is doing this to Africa.
The Libyan government have come out and said they've put together some kind of committee to investigate what's been happening. What more are you expecting from them right now? What are you calling for today?
We're calling for an end to the slave trade in Libya, because it absolutely does exist. People are denying that it exists. We're calling for an end to the harvesting of organs of black Africans and migrants. We're calling for an end to the kidnapping and ransoming of black Africans, and we're calling for an end to the anti-black agenda that has existed in Libya and other northern African countries, and saying it's time to recognise this and to stamp it out in your country.
We are human beings and we want to live in peace. So that's why we are here to protest with the Libyan Embassy. To protest against all this. All Europe, US community or UN Council have to stand up. All African leaders have to stand up to stop this. And all commandatory for this story have to be arrested and send them to international war court, because this is a crime for human being.
This expose by the CNN report has shocked people, and I think the reason it shocked people is the realization that the enslavement and trading in people is still going on today. That is what's caused such a global outcry, is the facts people cannot deny the facts. They have seen the video footage, they have seen the photographic evidence for themselves, and they are rightfully, humanely appalled by it.
This actual event has, in a way, has been stimulated by the reports that have come out of the CNN report that was released last week. But these acts have been happening for many years. Why do you think we, as a people, have been so slow to respond?
The delay is because the Africans themselves, the African leaders, they are not really interested in looking after Africans. They don't care. This has been going on for years, at least for 5-6 years now. And we have seen no action from the African Union, from the local governments, and even from the Europeans. The Europeans, they have been funding the different Libyan groups just to stop immigrants from coming to Europe.
And we must remember that Africa is one of, if not the richest continent on the world, and that's where a lot of the Western countries get their resources from. So to strengthen a people to a point where you become reliant on them is a very dangerous thing indeed. So it is within the interests of the international community to ignore, and as we understand it, a lot of them have been complicit in this, because before Gaddafi was overtaken and murdered, there were camps. He had agreements, as far as we understand, that he had agreements with European governments to hold black African migrants in these camps in Libya and stop them from entering Europe.
Why are so many of our people seeing hope in these desired destinations?
For me, the real root cause for mass migration is the brutality of the African dictators, lack of hope in their own countries, and they're just looking for a future, and they don't see this happening in their own countries.
Only yesterday,
speak out.
Nearly 40 of our brothers and sisters died in the new Middle Passage in the Mediterranean Sea.
It's unacceptable.
We have to understand this is a direct, explicit strategic policy of the leading NATO countries.
Yes.
This is not a quote-unquote mistake.
No, mistake.
They made a mistake first in Afghanistan, then in Iraq, and then in Syria, and then in Somalia, and then in Mali. This is not mistakes.
That's not
a mistake you make once and you can rectify. You don't make a mistake a dozen times over 2 decades. This is what we're faced with. This is a recolonization strategy of imperialism. This is a strategy to ensure that Africa stays on its knees, and it never has a leadership that uses its God-given natural wealth to uplift the African masses.
Do you think we are looking outwards and need to be looking inwards? My question being, do you think we need to place more emphasis and more pressure on our African leaders to speak up, to speak out about what is happening to our people?
Yeah, there's on the 29th, they have to meet in Ivory Coast. There's a big meeting. Too many president or prime minister of Europe have to take part for this African meeting in Ivory Coast, in Abidjan. So we think they're gonna do a good decision about this.
My message to you, African leaders, firstly, is shame on you. Shame on your complicity in selling our people down the river.
For African leaders, you have to treat your people and try to create too many jobs for all your community, for your people, for the country to work hard to stop this kind of thing. Because you are not good enough, you just think about your pocket and your family, you not work for the country. I'm asking to my president, no, Alassane Ouattara, you do enough for the country, but you have to stand up again to do more than that.
Have you learnt nothing from history? Have you learnt nothing from our story? For you to continue to do business with those who enslaved us and continue to profit from us. Shame on you!
If Libya don't want to relax all the community, they have to send ECOWAS forces This is the African military forces to go to find all single African living there to send them back home.
We are not for sale. We are not for sale. We are not for sale. We are human. We are human. We are human. We are human.
You are answerable to us, the people. African Union, you are answerable to us, the people.
This is the point, my message for you, my Mr. President, to do all your best for the country, and all Africans have to do the same. Ghana, Liberia, Cameroon, they have to do all the same to stand up, to go to find out all the population living there, to send back home, to save their life, to save the children. Children are killing like a cow or lamb or dog. This is not good. So please, you have to do something about this. Thank you very much.
So the protest has now ended, and as you heard, people are very angry, very disappointed in African leaders, in the international community. They're calling for action, they're calling for an end to Africans being enslaved in Libya. I'm Davina Agri, and this is Africa Probe.